Toxic influence. I loved this. I, first of all, loved the setup of it, especially with mothers and daughters, because so much of what Dove's media branding and media target is about femininity, and it's about, being a woman, but they also have definitely brought up like mothers and daughters before. And to mirror that with this, I thought was really, really well thought out and really, really well done, because it shows, like, yeah, if you couch things a certain way or you're only presenting a certain facts to, a person or two people, obviously they're going to feel some type of way about it, but when confronted with a larger, wider picture, they might form a different opinion. And I think that it brings up a really interesting point, an interesting concept of media and PR. And obviously Dove's PR team and their media team is doing very well, because that all of their initial opinions of when they first came in and were asked about the brand after looking at their initial, the social media pages and everything, were all really positive, showing the first campaign however long ago of being like one of the first brands to kind of step out and show other skin tones, other body types, and embrace women, as every version that they show up in. Again, all of that, I'm not trying to discount that, because that is all good, and that is definitely momentum that as a society women need moving forward, to embrace women as they come and not try to put them into a mold or a box. But then that is, you can do acts of good with still doing acts of bad. Like, and I wish that I had a more eloquent way of phrasing that, and I really don't. But obviously they did do some things that were incredibly positive and were very good for specific aspects of society. But that doesn't mean that as a company in general, or as a company as a whole, that when you're taking in the planet fully, which includes society, that they are necessarily a company for good. And at the end of the day, I think that it brings up a really interesting point of this kind of duality between what is really going on to make profits for such a big multi-billion-dollar company, and what their marketing and PR are presenting to the kind of viewing public, because those are almost always at odds with each other. And this is a great example of that. And like I said, just because they are doing harm, and they are, on a global scale, which arguably outweighs the good that they are doing on a societal scale for portraying women as they come. And I think that it brings up really interesting points to be informed, to do your research, to take everything you see, especially that it's been produced, with a grain of salt, and with the knowledge that they are putting their best version of something out there, especially when it comes to products, especially when it comes to marketing, especially when it comes to PR, and taking everything that you see through a lens of, this is serving a purpose, and the purpose is to try and get as many consumers as possible. And whether that colors your decision making and what products you're choosing to buy, that's a personal choice. But at least having the first step of having the realization that everything that you see, all the information that gets put out, is definitely filtered through a lens, and learning what maybe lays beneath the lens and making your own choice after that. But I thought this was a really, really well done film.
Toxic influence, the dark side of Dove. This is really eye-opening, and I'm really glad this was made. I think, it also shows how powerful advertising is. Just because something's advertised doesn't mean it's true. Kind of like when the internet first came out, everybody thought everything on the internet had to be true. Unfortunately, there's not those standards, I don't think. I mean, I guess there's false advertising, but really, it's just eye-opening that so much plastic, and my friend was talking about this the other day with shampoo. I mean, there's so much plastic waste, and for this, product specifically to talk about how good it is for the body, and on the other hand, they're using so much plastic and it's burning and getting into us and our babies and polluting the world. I just thought it was very well said. This little 6 minute or under 6 minute short, there was so much packed in it. Very well said, very well laid out with the interviews. I like how these women said at the end, they're irresponsible, they're hypocrites, they're harmful. And this is a worldwide problem, honestly. It's really more than just one company. This isn't just Dove, even though Dove is a huge company. But what about all the other companies that are out there, even if they're owned by this? We don't even know who these companies are owned by half the time, but we in general need better packaging so that we as consumers can get what we need and still feel good about it. And I just really like this a lot. I think, all the technical stuff, the lighting, the cinematography, the interviews, everything was just great. So good luck to you guys.
Toxic Influence, The Dark Side of Dove. This is a compelling documentary that massively exposes the environmental hypocrisy behind Dove's image of sustainability. This film begins by showcasing Dove's empowering message, only to quickly pivot and reveal the dark reality of its environmental impact. And I really like this narrative choice. It's clever and it's not just a simple, straightforward way of aligning information. Through this sharp editing, powerful visuals, and Greenpeace's research, the filmmakers effectively expose how Dove's single-use plastic sachets flood the world, and contributing to ocean pollution and wildlife destruction and all those heavy realities. The pacing and structure of this documentary keeps you engaged. They build a sense of urgency, and the contrast between the brand's clean image and its environmental damage is jarring but really effective, making this film an eye-opening exploration that I think of corporate responsibility. I think we need more documentaries like this, ones that hold powerful corporations accountable and expose uncomfortable truths. I think it's both urgent and eye-opening, and it's definitely shapes your perception.
This film is called Toxic Influence. This was a real eye-opening short. I too had heard about the Dove campaign and their support of women, but this short does a compelling job of showing the dark side of their business, with its revelation of the huge plastic use. I was shocked to see and hear about the microplastics in so many things around us in everyday life. Excellent footage of the women being moved too. I am very happy that this film has been made to encourage Dove and other companies to change their packaging products away from plastic. Well done, convincing short. Toxic Influence. Check it out.